We started a couple weeks ago discovering how we're going to recover from this crisis we're in, how we're going to get back to what most people are calling the new normal. I don't know if I really like that statement, but it is what it is, and that's where we're at. And so we looked at it and we said that recovery has to start with taking a good, hard, long look at the person I look at in the mirror. That it doesn't start in Washington, it doesn't start at our state capitol, that it has to start with me. And if we truly want to experience a full recovery through this, that I have to do something about it. That you have to do something about it. That what's going on in my heart has to get up to my head, and then it has to come out of my body. That our lifestyle is actually going to have to change, and it's going to have to be adapted. Because I think we can all agree in this. I think you and I, no matter where we're at and what we're going, I think we can all agree we don't ever want to be in this situation again, right? I can feel you saying yes through the camera. Like I can feel you nodding, going, yes, please, I don't ever want to do this again. But here's the thing. There's going to be another crisis. Whether it's personally or whether it's globally or whether it's nationally, there will be another crisis that hits. And we can be different. We can be in a different place if we handle this one, the recovery of this one, in the proper way. You see, what we know is that the crisis doesn't cause the problem. Like the problems that we're seeing today in our country, in our world, locally, in our communities, like this pandemic didn't cause the problem. It only revealed what was going on underneath. I'm going to say that again for the folks who are over there washing dishes or maybe not really listening too well, but you can pipe up and listen right now, okay? So put your dishes down real quick and listen to this. Crisis doesn't cause the problem. It only reveals what's already going on underneath. You see, much of our feelings, our anxiety, our worry has absolutely nothing to do with getting sick. Has nothing to do with the fact that we might get the coronavirus. But it has so much to do with how are we going to survive financially in this new normal? Are we going to get our jobs back? Am I going to be able to retire when I want to retire now because my retirement account got slashed in half? And the real question we're all asking right now, it's no longer toilet paper, right? It's when is the price of ground beef going to go back down? I mean, that's what I'm asking because I like hamburgers. You know, those are the real questions. But I think if we're honest with ourselves, if we're totally honest and we're looking at the person in the mirror, the guy or the girl in the mirror, and we're honest with ourselves, and I don't think it matters what socioeconomic class you find yourself in, whether you're middle class or upper class or you're living on low income, supplemental income, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I think we can all agree on this. In America, we have a tendency to live in abundance. Now, that's not a political statement. I'm not trying to make a political statement. It's just fact. Look around. Look around us. I'll give you an example of this, of how times have changed in the last 100 years. If you went into a house that was built in 1920, there would be some drastically different things about the house, wouldn't there? Like even spec homes that we call spec homes in today's world, there's some drastically different things between homes that were built in the 1920s and homes that are built now. Now, I'm not talking, I know some of you will be like, yeah, craftsmanship and quality, no, I'm not talking about that, okay? I'm talking about the size of a certain room. That's called a closet. You see, if a home that was built in the 1920s would have a small closet. And so if we're moving into a home like that, like the thing that we would look at, we'd be like, man, there's just not a lot of closet space to put our stuff. That's because in 1920, the normal wardrobe for a man was a suit that he wore to church. Praise God, I'm not wearing a suit to church in 2020. That is awesome because, man, they're uncomfortable and I sweat and it would be very bad. But they'd have a suit that they would wear to church. They'd have a couple collared shirts in there and a couple pair of pants and then a couple pair of shoes. And that was their wardrobe. And then women, they weren't much different. Like they'd have a few dresses and a couple clothes, shoes in there, and that was it. And so, excuse me. So one closet would be able to suit husband and wife. But what do we have in 2020? Like you watch these shows on TVs, and some of these people's closets have closets for their closets, don't they? Like there's a special compartment that like comes down, and like this is where all the shoes go. And it's you're no longer in your room anymore to go into your closet. You're actually walking into your closet. As a matter of fact, I think in the future, it's going to be like, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house and 7-closet house. So you got like a 3-2-7. Because we measure these things about where we can put our space. And what do? We hang all of our clothes in this closet, and what do we end up doing? We walk in there, I got nothing to wear. And we have a closet, and then we have this other thing called the garage, don't we? Now, a garage, we all know what's supposed to go in a garage. It's where you park your car to keep it safe from the elements, and you're able to get in, especially in the wintertime. You're still kind of warm, and you get in there, and you don't have to ice your car and get all the snow and ice. And I know we don't have a lot of that around here, but some people do. And so your garage is so you can keep your car. But what do? We pile our junk in the garage. So much so that we can't even we can't put our car in the garage because we got so much junk in our garage. And then when that fills up, what do? We take our hard-earned money and we go pay someone else to store our junk. We have an abundance. We have an abundance. I guarantee you can't, storage units are going up like Dollar Generals nowadays. The first 2 weeks of this sermon series, Recovery Road, we looked at what's going on the inside. We looked at what happens in our life that causes some financial torment. And I want to give you, this week and next week, I want to give you 2 decisions that will help you on the road to recovery and greatly increase your ability to live in this new normal. So these next 2 weeks are kind of like solutions to all this. This is how we do it. These are things that we can do, that we can put into place to actually recover well. Today, I want us to discover that less is actually more. That less is actually more. We moved, my wife and I and kids, we moved about 6 months ago into a new house. And we lived in our former house almost 7 years. It would have been 7 years this month, as a matter of fact. And so we lived there for 7 years. And we said repeatedly, as we were moving and we were cleaning out stuff and all this other stuff, we said repeatedly, how did we get so much stuff? How did we get so much junk? As a matter of fact, we found boxes in our old house that came from our previous house that we never even unpacked. And if you want to understand how we got to that point, you can go back and listen to the first 2 messages. It gives you a clear picture how we got in that situation. And we actually rented a dumpster, like one of those big, huge, like 15-yard dumpsters, and put it in our yard and just filled that thing up. And we probably could have filled it up again. But we had so much stuff. So today, I want us to look at one verse. One verse. There's some Sundays where I'm like, whoo, it's like Bible drill around here. Today it's going to be easy. You just got to turn to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 6. And we're just going to look at this one verse. And this one verse says this. It says, better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. I'm going to read it one more time. You can say it with me right where you are. Just read it out loud. People will think you're crazy, but it's all right. They're going to get it. They're going to hear it. Better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Now, here, I've got my favorite candy with me today. I know you've been sitting here wondering, why has he got a bowl full of Skittles sitting on his podium there? Well, I'm going to explain to you because I want to use these Skittles to illustrate this verse and give you some ideas of what this verse kind of means, okay? And give you some ideas of what how we can learn from Skittles, because we all know that the red ones are the best. Okay, don't argue with me. It's fact. A close second is the purple. The green, yellow, and orange ones, y'all can have those. But those other two, I'm going to eat. But anyway, so I want to give you this idea that says better is one handful with tranquility, with peace, with calm. That's what tranquility means, peace and calm. You'll see a lot of like spas that have the word tranquility because it's peaceful, it's calm. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil, with hardship, with hard times, with tough times. You see, if I have both hands full of Skittles, there's a lot of things I can't do. Like there's a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do if I had both hands full of Skittles. Now, because we all would understand that if I were to eat this whole bowl of Skittles, that tasting the rainbow would be a little different, wouldn't it? It would actually be seeing the rainbow as it came back, because that would be gross and a lot of sugar. I couldn't handle it. But if I have two handfuls of Skittles, there's a lot of things that, like, if I had a Coke, like how, I know you could get inventive and like, you know, kind of like that. But how do I take a napkin, pick up a napkin and wipe the drool? Like how do I pick up the remote to turn the channel because I don't want to watch those stupid commercials? Better is one handful of tranquility, of peace, of calm, because then I have one handful free. You see, if I don't have this handful over my stuff, over my Skittles, I can do a lot of things with it. I can help someone else up. I can use this hand to give them some Skittles, just the orange, the yellow, and the green ones. I've got a hand free that I can give someone a high five. And if I don't like what I'm watching, I got a hand free that I can prop my head on my hand and take a nap. Because better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil. Less is more. Less is more. So I want to ask you a question today. What's most important to you? What matters most to you? If you're sitting there, you got a piece of paper, make yourself a list. Maybe you're just doing it mentally, but it's good to write these things out. Make yourself a list. Maybe you enjoy spending time with your family. That matters most. We've seen a lot during this time. We've heard stories of people saying, man, I've enjoyed this time because it's given me an opportunity to spend time with family. But if you had 3 months to live, if the doctor came in and said, you're not sick, you're not this, you're not that, you don't have any diseases, you just got 3 months to live, what would you want to do most? What would you want to do? You see what no one's putting on that list is go to work and make more money so I can buy a new car. Go to work, make more money so I can get that new sofa, get this trinket. No, what are we doing with that stuff? We're trying to sell it, aren't we? Like we're trying to get rid of that stuff. Maybe on your list is I want to get closer to God. Because here's what we know deep down that our life, your life, my life, is not meant to be lived in the abundance of our possessions. It's not meant that we would consume the whole bowl. It's not meant that we would take every last Skittle and consume it, because we know that's not good. So I want to give you 2 things this morning that we can incorporate less is more living in our life. 2 simple, practical ideas, 2 simple, practical ways that we can incorporate less is more living in our life. The first one is this. The first one is cut back. Cut back. When we were moving, I would jokingly tell my wife, Melissa, I said, hey, here's what we need to do. We need to make 3 piles. And you've probably heard this. Some of you maybe heard this before. We're going to take 3 piles, okay? We're going to have a keep pile. We're going to have a donate pile. And then we're going to have a trash pile. And that was the pile that we put in the backyard in that big dumpster. So we've got these 3 piles. And then we need to take them out. And we separate them out. And then we're going to take some gasoline. And we're going to put it on the trash pile and just light it up. And then we're going to take some more gasoline and put it on the donate pile. And some more gasoline on the keep pile. And just light them up. Because we don't need half the stuff we got. You see, we needed to cut back. We don't need it, but we're crazily attached to our stuff. I told you we had boxes in our old house that we never unpacked from the 7 years before we moved into that. Guess what? 6 months later, we still have boxes unpacked in our new house. Crazy, isn't it? Because we just can't get rid of it. I want to give you the best way you can cut back. Because cutting back is kind of like chewing the monster off from the front side. You know, we're going to attack it from both sides, and so we're just getting one side right here. And so we're going to chew this monster off. The best way that you can cut back is start to live on a budget. Now, here's the thing about budgeting. It's hard. I'll refer you back to those weeks, the last couple weeks I talked about. It's hard because if you're like me, you're undisciplined. But when I live on a budget, I'm able to say, hey, I don't need that, and so I don't get it. You see, what budgeting does is it puts things in motion in our life to say, here's what's important, here's what I need to spend on, and that's it. So we're chewing this thing, we're biting, and we're biting it off from the front end. And so when there isn't as much stuff that we just accumulate, our lives become simple. There's more room in our closets. And so we can move some of that stuff from the garage out. We can actually start to park our cars in the garage. It means we're not spending money for someone else to store our stuff, which means we have more money in our pockets to save, and then budgeting gets a lot easier. You see, when we have less stuff, we have more time with our family, less stuff, more times with our friends, less stuff, more time for experiences. Less stuff means we have more time for the things that matter. Life does not and cannot exist in the abundance of my possessions. We got to cut back. Start eating this thing from the front end, and then we go to the back end. We start eating it from that side too. We're going to clear out. We're going to clear out. We're going to start getting rid of so much stuff that the dog and the kids start worrying, hey, they're going to try to sell me. Clear out like your life depends upon it. A couple years ago, I read this book called Essentialism, and it's the disciplined pursuit of less. And man, did I need it then? And man, do I need it now? Because that book really changed my idea of the way I think. And look, I need to revisit that periodically because I drift. I need to recenter myself. I need to refocus myself. And so it's okay to do that. It's okay to say, I got to get back to what matters. But you need to have a clearing out party. Who doesn't love a good party, right? Who doesn't love a good party? Man, invite people over and say, we're going to get rid of this stuff. If you want it, you can have it, but we're going to get rid of it. But that's hard, isn't it? It's difficult. Because our things that we have sitting around have sentiment. Like it brings sentimental value in our hearts. I remember a couple years ago, my mom and dad, they were kind of clearing out at their house. And so clearing out at their house means all the stuff that Mickey left there back when he left, 20 years ago, it's still there. And so what they're doing is they're bringing it to Mickey for him to deal with. And I remember thinking, they brought up a bunch of like trophies and plaques and all the way from when I was like my kids' age, like 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all that stuff. And so things that I just accumulated over the years of playing sports. And so like they bring it in, and I remember thinking this, man, I wish they would have just thrown it away because I don't want it. You see, but it's not easy for me to throw it away because when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I remember that team. That team, that was a good team. Man, we won the 1987 Region 3 AAA runner-up. That was a good team. They have sentiment in my heart, and I don't want to throw it away because I'm like, oh, I remember those things. But here's the thing. The trophy reminds me of that, but they're still here. The memories are still here. The idea, the sentiment doesn't live in the trophies. The sentiment lives in my brain, in my memories. But it becomes extremely difficult to throw those things away because of that sentiment. And we get overwhelmed with it, don't we? We get overwhelmed with the choices that we have to make. What can I throw away? What should I throw away? I don't want to throw that away because get overwhelmed with our choices, and then we don't know where to start, and we don't know what to do, and we sit here and say, it's kind of like asking the age-old question, well, where do you want to eat, right? I don't care, where do you want to eat? Well, I asked you first. I always like to say, guess where I want to go eat today? And they guess, and I'm like, how'd you know? And we just go there, right? You see, this question of where you want to eat was really easy a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Because there wasn't anything open to go eat. So it was just, I guess we're going to go home and eat, right? It's the only one place open, it's the kitchen. Go there. You see, choosing where to go eat and choosing what to throw away is a lot easier when there's less choices, right? You see where I'm going with this? This is how when we start to clear out, like our lives become easier. But see, what we think is, well, if I don't have this stuff, life is boring. I think it makes decisions easier. I think it makes life a lot more interesting because you actually got to use your brain to think through things. You see, making the decision to cut back makes your choices of what to do a lot easier. Now, I've stated this every week, and I want to state it this week too, because I don't want us to get legalistic about this. And to think that I'm trying to tell you that you should live in poverty, that you should live in like everybody should be in one room, and like that's not what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. I think you can have nice things. I have nice things. I have some really nice things. I'm not trying to tell you you can't go places. Go play. I'm going on vacation with my family in a couple weeks. We're going to go to the beach, and we're going to experience it, all there is to experience during this time, okay? By all means, go. Have fun. Go to the lake. Go camping. Go to the games. Go on vacation. Go to the beach. Go to Europe and explore. Like do some really, really nice things. And you know what? Those really, really nice things usually cost what? More money, right? But the most important thing about having nice things or nice things in general is to make sure that they don't have you. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil. Better is a few nice things that I own than a lot of junk that owns me. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind, chasing something that you're never going to get. In my opinion, the richest people in the world aren't those that have the most, but those that need the least. You see, your life, my life, our lives is too valuable, and our calling is too great, and our God is too good to waste our lives on meaningless things. I'll say that again. That your life is too valuable, and your calling is too great, and our God is too good to waste your life on meaningless things. Father, this morning I pray that you will break the bondage that our stuff has on us. Break the bondage that we need it. Break the bondage that's what we have to feel important. Break the bondage that these are the things that make us, or these are the things that you say that we need to feel loved by you. God, it's nothing, none of that. God, our stuff has so much hold on us. And I believe our stuff holds us back from stepping into your calling, stepping into what you would have us do, stepping into who you've called us to be, God. So God, help us in these moments. God, help us to cut back. God, help us to take some of the things that we're spending money on and just say, I don't need that anymore. I can't do this. God, help me live on a budget. God, help us to clear out some of these things that are just laying around, these things that have been in boxes for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. The things that we haven't worn in over a year. Father, break that bondage inside of us that our stuff has on us. Jesus, I thank you that you broke the bondage for us. That when we see all this stuff that we have, that ultimately the only thing that matters is you. The only thing that matters is you and your forgiveness and your salvation. Father, I thank you that we can learn. Father, I thank you that we can recover and take steps towards you. God, I love you, and in your name, amen.